The views on a Breath of Fresh Air podcast reflects the parties involved, and we encourage you all to use it as a conversational tool that will lead to personal studies of your own.
Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Welcome to a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. As a young person, Christianity can be so foggy, like smoke in the mirrors and so unclear. But we're here to bring you a breath of fresh air. Hey guys, stay here with the donkey while I and Isaac go up into the mountains. We will worship and we will offer our sacrifice and we will come back to you.
All right.
Okay.
Father,
Yes, Isaac.
I see the wood and the fire, but where's the lamb for the burnt offering?
Wow. What am I gonna say? I can't possibly tell him. Isaac, God himself will provide the lamb for the sacrifice. Abram, now Abraham, has had several tests of faith so far in his life. However, even in his old age, God still had a few more tests left for him. In this episode of A Breath of Fresh Air, we are going to cover Genesis chapters 20 through 22. These stories show Abraham's faith being tested and also God honoring the covenants that he had made. Welcome to another episode of Breath of Fresh Air. So last week, Abraham went ham. And so this week, we're going to continue the illustrious story of the man of faith, the pillar of faith, the father of many nations, Abraham. I really wish they had last names because I was so ready to say Abraham something.
Yeah.
But I guess I gave all the preamble before. And so this week we're going to be talking about Genesis 20 to 22. So we're just going to be unpacking these stories and should be a good episode. We have a lot of deep stuff to talk about.
Yeah, this actually is about to be the closing to the story of Abraham, you know? It's the intro to the family of like God's people, the Hebrews, etc. But, you know, we about to wrap up this whole Abraham journey.
Yeah, so now in chapter 20, we see it's almost like the repeat of a story that we've heard before. So now we see Abraham going to the kingdom of Gerar. Man, these ancient names, they always hit me.
Yeah.
So Gerar, and then the Gerar had a king called Abimelech. And so Abimelech, we talked about Sarah's magnificent beauty before, and I guess Abimelech heard wind of Sarah coming to town, and he saw her, and he said, you know what? I'm going to take this woman for myself. And we also see that Abraham said, okay, yeah, Sarah, you remember the line from last time?
You remember
the line?
You know the drill.
You know the drill. You're my sister. You know, we ain't lying.
No,
We just ain't telling the full truth.
that's true. So, but imagine how fine. So I hope I ain't being disrespectful in any way, but imagine how beautiful Sarah would have had to been
In her old age, but
in her old age
wrinkly.
for someone to just on sight, I'm seeing you and I'm taking you as my wife.
Yeah, but they were so confident back then just to be taking people's wives, bro. I mean, but you can't argue with the king.
No, see, right. But then at the same time, because he's a righteous man, because he's a righteous man, this probably would have been different than when they were in Egypt. You know, he probably wouldn't even have taken that route had he known this was somebody's wife.
I mean,
You know
that's
what
how
I'm
it
saying?
sounds too, because we see how Abimelech, God came to Abimelech in a dream and was like, you gonna be you gonna be good as dead. I'm like, God ain't slap up with him. God said, you gonna be as good as dead. Because the woman you've taken, she's a married woman. Abimelech was like, hold on, God.
Whoa, wait, hold on now, record scratch.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I did everything right. I asked her. She told me she's the man's sister.
But you know how you feel when you play everything by the book and you're getting punished by some type of way, bro.
There's hate me, boy.
Bro, that hurtful. Mad. That hurtful, bro.
I be more mad. I'm like, I did everything right.
Exactly. Intentionally.
And I still getting punished?
And some people would even say, man, I might as well do the wrong thing if the net result the same. You know what I mean?
Thing, I am that person. I said it every time. I was like, mother, I do the right stuff and this still happened to me. I might as well do what you accusing me of.
Because the wrong thing is a lot of times more convenient at the end of the day. So sometimes you go out your way to do the right thing. And then you still, but then they say, no good deed go unpunished, man. This isn't biblically supported, you know what I'm saying? But this is a very common phrase, you know?
That just always so happens to still be right. That's like the old proverbs and just always say like, yeah, that's true, you know. I mean,
you can't refute that argument at all. So we have Abimelech in a situation where he feel like he's being punished for doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? God say, bro, I ain't lie. Hey, in the King James Version, it says, thou art but a dead man.
Thou art.
Like, imagine hearing that, bro. Thou art but a dead man. For the woman which thou hast taken, for she is a man's wife, but Abimelech had not come near her. And he said, Lord, will thou slay also a righteous man? See, that's what he said. He said, God, Otto, I doing the right thing. You can kill me for being right. You know what I mean? For being righteous. You know? So said he not unto me. She is, oh yeah. So he's like, bro, so you telling me you didn't hear when he said, that's my sister?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And she even corroborate the story.
And she said, he's my brother.
Right. So in the integrity of my heart and innocency of my hands have I done this.
Exactly. You know? My version say, I have done this with a clear conscience and clean hands. He's like, cover all my bases, Lord. Yeah. I asked her. I asked him. The stories corroborated. And you know what I would have said? Lord, guess what? The man ain't put up no resistance when I take his wife.
Mm-hmm. That's a fact.
He ain't put up no resistance. So now this was really your wife. You're supposed to be like, but maybe you shouldn't take my sister.
Right. I would have tried to make up a story as to why my sister. I'd be like, hey, King, listen, I ain't the one for you. Trust me. I grew up with her, bro. She's stressed. I had to say something, bro, to try to deter him, you know?
Abraham just say, okay, yeah, here you go.
Abraham, see, I feel like Abraham knew this was gonna be his fate one day, you know, as he sojourned, because it's clear that this is a procedure of his, bro. Like, you know the drill, Sarah. When we get to a king, as soon as they look at you, you already know they gonna want you because you very fine, even in your old age. You are dangerously fine. You know what I'm saying? So you just gotta run the sister brother routine. You know, there's something they just knew like clockwork. You know, and so now. Here it is for the second time. And no, but I wanted to say this, bro. The first time it happened, you know, we saw Abram at the time. He was moving in faith, you know, but he hadn't really been through as much as he had been through now with God. You know what I'm saying? He've already seen a lot. He's experienced a lot. A lot of missions. He already speak to God one-on-one.
So, I mean, keep him with last week's episode, right, with our little point system. What you doing now, buddy?
I gotta deduct the points, bro. I gotta deduct points now because, like, you done, bro. You failed this test before, bro.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying, bro? Like you know they say fool me once. You know how it go. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you failed this test before. You know what I'm saying?
For the exact test again. Like,
yes.
That's what really getting me to. I'm like, you've been here before, and God's promise is still supposed to be ringing true. So like God already say, everyone who bless you, I will bless. Everyone who curse you, I will curse.
And bro, it ain't like you hadn't seen this firsthand, bro. You saw what he did to Pharaoh.
Exactly.
You understand? And that's the thing. Pharaoh probably ain't even asked questions like how Abimelech asked.
Exactly.
Abimelech looked like he was trying to do the right thing. Pharaoh probably wasn't. But at the same time, it was the princes who bring him to Pharaoh. Yeah, bring him to Pharaoh.
And then she also say that too. But like Pharaoh still was more like, I just bring on take on.
And Pharaoh get punished.
Yeah.
You understand? And it was undeniable that this was because of God. You feel me?
But the thing is, like, we see how Abimelech's land, even though we ain't get there yet, we see Abimelech's land still got punished.
Yeah,
But it wasn't as severe as the Egyptians got.
for sure.
Because the Egyptians thought they just gave multiple plagues.
Yeah.
God just, gave the kingdom of Gerar one little plague that we're going to talk about a little later.
Yeah. So and God basically was telling Abimelech, bro, because you do things the right way, I stop you from even sinning against me still. Because that would have been a different kind of word.
Mercy.
You understand? Like
The promise shall come true, Abimelech. That would have been crazy.
But I don't think it would have get that far, bro. Because trust me, bro. Bro, Pharaoh's the only dude who had Pharaoh during Moses' times, the only dude who had the heart to keep fighting through the plague. You know what I mean? Like other kings, when they see them plagues, they stop in their tracks. They're like, all right.
I don't even think they knew yet that God made everyone in the land barren at that time too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I don't even think they knew that it happened yet. I mean, because how do you instantly know you get barren like overnight?
All right.
Because I mean, like because Abimelech take it at night. He ain't do nothing, and early the next morning, Abimelech going to he summon all his officials and tell them what happened, and then everyone get afraid. And Abimelech called Abraham in and said, "Wait, what you done to us, bro? What have you done?" And he's like, "How have I wronged you that you may bring such guilt upon me?" Let's think about it, bro. Bro, if you just being straight up with you, if you were being straight up with me, none of this would happen to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I getting punished because of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because so it's almost like he set them up to get punished in a way. You know what I mean? You tell me something so I can react in a way and then get punished for reacting that way. But Abraham hit him with a big line too, though. Abraham was like, bro, because I thought, and this Genesis 20 verse 11, and Abraham said, because I thought, surely the fear of God is not in this place, and they would slay me for my wife's sake. So Abraham was saying, bro, I didn't strike y'all as the people who care about God, bro. So if y'all don't care about God, what y'all care about me? What y'all care about my marriage?
But keep on going, man, because Abraham keep reasoning. Like he hit him with that big line, but he keep reasoning after that.
All right, he said, and yet indeed, she is my sister.
Bing.
She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife.
And see, man, like stuff like this really just, like I really want people to understand, like, bro, these guys were human beings. Like Abraham bust a psych exactly like how we would do it.
Exactly.
He said, guess what? Let me tell you something, buddy. Like he dissed them first and then he tried like smooth it off at the end. That's what he do. He's like, bro, wait, God ain't even in this place, bro. So what y'all talking about, dog? What you want me to do? And guess what, bro? True. I ain't even really lie, bro.
Yeah, you coming on to me wrong. Like you what I do to you, I tell you the truth.
I tell you the
It wasn't the truth. It wasn't the whole truth, nothing but the truth. But it was the truth still. You know what I mean?
Like she is my sister. And see, that's when you know you're guilty. You're guilty because you're seeing more information than really need to say.
Yeah. You would have to go through all that.
Like, yeah, she my sister, but we don't have to see him mummy. So now I marry her.
What you bringing my mommy? What you bringing your mommy into this for, bro?
What you bringing your daddy into this for?
Bro, this is what they trying to show you here. They did not mention Abraham's wife, but Abraham's mother once in the Bible up until this point, bro. You feel me? That's just how, that's the extent he was willing to go through to reason with Abimelech. Bringing his mummy into this and all, bro.
Because true, and he must see Abimelech was mad too. Imagine for bro. I was ready. Things ain't happen, bro.
Yeah, Sarah, boy. Oh Lord, I mean, boy, that's a blessing. That's a blessing to have a wife. That's fine, but it's a lot of
heartache and pain.
For sure, you gotta go through. If you're choosing to sojourn during those times, you know.
Oh my.
Yeah, he's a reasoner though. I can't lie.
Exactly, bro. Then like you see Abimelech was blessed him, like gave him a bunch of sheep, some slaves, and he gave him back Sarah, his wife. And everyone like saying, you can take her. And then he also said, yo, my land is before you. You can live wherever you like in my land.
Mm-hmm. And then he gone to Sarah and say, hey, see, I give your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, 1,000 shekels, bro. Yeah. My Bible says shekels. Yeah, and a shekels was like, bro, that's like 25 pounds of silver, bro. That's one shekel. So you know it's 1,000 shekels, bro? That's a lot of silver, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I won't get into too much math right now, but that's a lot of silver.
Yeah, so basically, the way I see it, he just wanted to make it known that he righting his wrongs, even though it was an intentional wrong. So we go on to Sarah and say, "See, I give your brother 1,000 shekels of silver." I just want it to be clear that any insult I make to y'all, I am trying to reverse it now. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make better on what I did. You know.
And then we see God. Abram prayed to God, and God he healed Abimelech's wife and their slave girl so they could have children again. But the Lord had closed up every womb in Abimelech's household because of Abraham's wife Sarah.
Boy, oh boy.
Like, that's just powerful. This is powerful.
Yeah, bro.
This is powerful.
No cap, bro.
And then now we get to Genesis 21.
So that's interesting how it was just like, all right, so our last episode, we talk about Sodom and Gomorrah, right?
Yeah.
And Sodom and Gomorrah happened like the day after the angels came from Abraham. You understand? So like that was very relevant during the whole story. This right here, this is relevant too in the sense that like you can see the story progressing, but this was just like a little commercial break.
Yeah, side story.
You know, like a little side story, because like to me, the story of Abraham is really talking about him just listening to God and moving to a strange land, you know, but also him being the patriarch through which God's people will now run through for generation to generation. And so that's to me, that's the main focal point of the story of Abraham. And so now, after we finish this little episode with Abimelech, now we getting right back into it, you know?
Right back into it. I mean, because honestly, like when you use that logic, Sodom and Gomorrah was almost kind of a commercial break in itself too. It was like an anime, you call them like a filler episode.
Yeah.
Like,
see, but that's a big episode too.
It was a big filler episode. It had its relevance.
Yeah.
But
it
was like we was Abram. Oh, you guys remember Lot? Okay, Lot comes back. This is Lot's story. Okay, we're finishing the Lot arc.
Yeah.
Now we're going to. Well, since we're still in this commercial break, we're going to give you one more little filler, and then we're going to get back to Abraham.
Right, that's the way I see it. Like we finishing Lot's story arc. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, because that still is important too, though. Because like that would have just been so weird. You had this guy, you know, he was looked at as like your son at first. You know, he moves away. Now you have no son. You know what I'm saying? And now we can see where you were promised the son, and the son is about to come. But what happened to the other guy? You know what I'm saying?
But at the same time, not a lot of people in the Bible get that.
True.
Get that resolution. He's happy with them, and they just is.
A lot of people, bro, like Adam, like from Adam and Eve.
Oh yeah.
You don't even hear about the guy no
After
more. Like people will reference him, but it's usually referencing the fall. You understand? The guy lived 900 years after that. I assume that this happened in year one. Okay, it did happen in year one. So we lived like 960 plus years after that, and nothing. We don't get nothing from him, you know? So yeah, you're right. But then at the same time, with a situation like Sodom and Gomorrah, boy, it's hard to miss that out, because I don't think many stuff like that happened during that time that wasn't documented. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's still an interesting thing about Adam too. Like, you hear more about Adam's children more than him. And then also, like, one thing I even want to point out too, it shows that even your children can still have a close relationship to God than you, because Adam was created. God hand made him from the dust of the earth, but God took Enoch to heaven.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Like, God made Adam, but Enoch got taken to heaven. Didn't die, got taken to heaven. So like, you who were supposed to have the closest relationship to God, because God literally made you in his image. All these other people were made in the image of man, in a sense, because I mean, they were born. But you were handcrafted. You should have the closest relationship to God.
Hey, that's what you would think. Now, I just want to say, bro, how you see? I know this is extreme speculation now. But imagine how Adam felt, bro, when Enoch built such a strong connection to God that he was able to see the kingdom of heaven without dying. Imagine how, boy, oh boy. Imagine what Adam had to think about. I feel like the reason why Adam probably isn't mentioned as much in the Bible, bro, is because you would see he would go outside, bro. Because a lot of things would happen. I don't think he could be happy. All of these things happen, bro. He had to live through people dying, and just there was only one sin that happened when Adam was created. The only sin was eating the apple. Then you see all type of just
And you see
different
the
sins.
effects of all of this.
You understand? You see it grow and develop generation after generation.
You see your son kill
Boy.
the other son.
Exactly. And you see people, when it get to the time of Enoch, bro, the world was just so evil. This guy he was living a life of sorrow every single day. And you ain't want to hear about that. You feel me? So yeah, bro, that that's crazy. But we did get some resolution for Lot's story. You know what I'm saying? And now back to regular programs, like regular scheduled programming for Abraham.
Yeah, so now we see, finally, the long-awaited promised child, Isaac,
Boy.
has been born. Isaac. And so, yeah, we see in verse 21, now the Lord was gracious with Sarah, and he had said, the Lord did for Sarah what he had promised. Sarah became pregnant and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, and at the very time God had promised him. Abraham gave the name Isaac to the son Sarah bore him. When his son Isaac was 8 days old, Abraham circumcised him because remember that other covenant, as God had commanded him. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. And Isaac means laughter, or he will laugh. I just so people could actually know what Isaac means. I don't know if it adds to the story.
I don't think it does, but it's good to know. It's a nice little Snapple fact.
It's a random fact. Someone out there can appreciate it. Yeah. I know who, but someone.
Oh, but no, I get it already. I get it already, bro.
Boom, because Sarah laughed.
Sarah and Abraham laughed.
No,
bro.
but she ain't laugh, boy.
She didn't laugh. No. Based on her words, she didn't laugh.
She didn't laugh.
She said it herself. She didn't laugh.
She didn't laugh.
Bro, you don't think that's funny, bro?
Yeah.
You don't think that's funny, bro? Like, it's funny, bro, because Isaac means laughter. These things just keep writing themselves, bro. Like,
you know what's funny too? God told him to name him Isaac too. Like Abraham, he just make this up. God told him from the covenant, yes, you can name your son Isaac.
Bro, God barred like that, bro. Like,
and we thought it didn't mean nothing.
You just like that, and it's just like that. God had to say, bro, how y'all missing this? How y'all missing this, bro?
You see our Lord answers prayers? Just for reference, right? Bro, we prayed before the podcast that God, just revealed some stuff to us that we might have forgotten in our studies. And just look at this.
Just like that, we stumble upon this little gem.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, that's what's up, though. That's what's up. And it go to like what you tell me that your grandmother says, like, there's nothing in the Bible by chance. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Everything has a meaning in the Bible.
Exactly. So even like how we were saying that Abimelech arc was like a random filler. In reality, even though we were like saying it in a joking manner, it's there for a reason. We might not understand the reason why it's here, but it's there for a reason. We actually see like right after the birth of Isaac how it kind of comes back to Abimelech again. I know in the future chapters, Abimelech comes back again when he's talking to Isaac. So I mean, I think that really just was setting the groundwork for future stuff to come.
So you could understand the intro to Abimelech into this family's life,
Sarah said, God has brought me laughter, and everyone who hears about this will laugh with me.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, who would have said that Abraham and Sarah would nurse children, yet I have borne a son in my old age?
Oh, ain't that something?
But you imagine 100, boy?
Oh, that's sick, bro.
Like, to me, it is be very interesting when someone is past 60 and say you're about to have a newborn.
Yeah. I actually don't even like stuff like that, bro, because like I feel like that child is not gonna have like a regular child or a child comparable to all of their friends. You know what I mean? Like, and then a lot of people have children very young. You understand? A lot of people have children. Somebody today asked me if I have any kids, and they're like, "You don't have no kids or nothing." I'm like, no, I'm not in a rush either. You know what I'm saying? But that's absurd because like a lot of people just want to get their family started in that regard. So imagine me, Nakhaz, right? 75 years from now, I have my firstborn.
Mercy.
You understand? That would be wild, bro.
Mercy.
That'd be wild, bro.
Bro,
I wouldn't even have the energy, like,
no,
to have a newborn.
No,
like,
I'm like, bro, I want to be it. But
I would be like a child. You know, they say once a month, twice a child.
Yeah.
We would be raising each other.
Look, Daddy, I can run. Don't worry.
I crawling too.
You can't even front.
No.
He literally beating you at 5.
Every time.
Your back hurting. Your knee hurting.
Everything
Daddy
hurt.
just threw out his back.
Yeah, bro. So like that. Yeah. So see how we just laugh? That's what Sarah was getting at too. She's saying, first of all, God tell me I was gonna have a child. That make me laugh. The child name is Laughter. And not everybody who hear about the story can laugh. Even you and I, thousands of years later, we analyzing this and we laugh.
That's
you know
true.
what I mean?
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, and so now we see another discrepancy comes up between Hagar and Sarah, and now Ishmael and Isaac. So this in picking up from Genesis 21, verse 8. So now we see Isaac was getting bigger, and then Abraham started to hold a great feast. But Sarah saw how Sarah saw how Ishmael and Hagar were essentially starting to mock Isaac, and Sarah wasn't having it. He's like, "Yeah, Abraham, you need to get rid of that Egyptian slave, Egyptian maid servant."
Yeah, bro, it's just so funny because you could see the spice, bro. Just but like so how the story is written is like in verse 9, it's like a narration. It says, "And Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian," right? But when it comes to verse 10, when we hear how Sarah is talking, she said unto Abraham, "Cast out this bondwoman and her son." You know, like when they say their names type of situation, that's basically what she doing. Like she kind of minimalizing who these people are.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Or
Keep
minimizing.
referring to like slave, bondwoman, like
right.
bro.
So now I am far removed from this time and this culture, but when I read this with attitude. Like,
of course.
Like bondwoman, like I imagine this a negative connotation to this.
Bro, this a mad woman, bro.
For sure.
Who is also jealous.
Exactly. And then I would even add, knowing not I'm a Bahamian, the old people in the Bahamas that I know, they don't do this thing what we call slapping up. That means they don't sugarcoat.
Exactly.
You understand? They don't use a lot of words. They get straight to the point. You understand? So, and a lot of times they're not really concerned about people's feelings. They just say what they gotta say.
No.
You understand?
You should say a piece.
Exactly. So that's the way I view Sarah in this situation. Sarah, like, bro, this born woman gotta go.
Now.
You understand? Now. Straight up.
And now we see the Bible says Abraham was distressed, or I don't know what the King James Version says. Grieved greatly because it concerned his son. And so now we gotta understand, like Abraham, we understand he's an old man now. I don't know how old he is at this point. I'd say 105, give or take a couple years. But Ishmael was his first son. So I mean, at this point, Ishmael would have been like 14-ish. Well, it was out of 5. He might have been like 19-ish. And so you already see that you already see your son grow up. You know what I'm saying? Like you already have a bond with him. This ain't the promised son, but it's still your first son still. And now you have to grapple with this decision. Like, I have to send him away? Really?
Oh boy.
Like, I'm probably never gonna see him again. As you can see, he was like starting to grapple this decision. But you see what God even had to come to him and say, bro, don't be distressed about the boy and your maid servant. Listen to your wife.
God basically had to say, bro, you gotta take your feelings out of this and do what's best for the family right now. You know, because God knowing all things, he probably could see how these two people being in the same household would cause strife. And then at the same time, because he's so much older and he's obviously going to be jealous because we saw a lot of sibling rivalry in the Bible up until this point. And we talking about Abraham, a guy who has a lot of riches and who's very established. So this could really cause your siblings to do some kind of hateful things. You know, we've seen that in the Bible. You know, so God was basically saying, bro, the smart thing for you to do is to listen to your wife.
Exactly. The wife that you...
Your first wife.
Your first wife, not the wife that you took.
You improvise with.
Yeah. He's saying you need to banish Hagar and Ishmael. And like you say, it's just for the peace too. Like, you're going to have these two sons growing up. There will be animosity towards them. Even to the point where Isaac might not know what's going on, but in Ishmael's heart, he's going to have animosity towards Isaac. You're going to see he's going to start being the favorited son. And now, how I was reading, it was also painting the picture that everyone was starting to praise Isaac now because they know he's the promised son. So Isaac was instantly getting more shine than Hagar and Ishmael. Because up to that point, Ishmael was it. Ishmael was Abraham's son. And one could argue legitimately, but you can't argue legitimately with Abraham because that is legitimately Abraham's son because Abraham had the boy, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's Abraham's seed. So that Ishmael was the guy for X amount of years.
That's
you know
the
what I'm saying?
boss son, the boss's son.
The boss's son. Literally have just as, well, not just as much rights, but boss than him.
At the end of the day, because there wasn't nothing to compare to. That was the boss
Exactly.
son period. It wasn't until Isaac until you could start to specify, oh, this one was from his wife, from his first wife.
This one's like
the bond.
the bastard.
Yeah. Well, they were married though.
They were married.
You understand? So,
technically
but at the
really a
same,
bastard.
exactly. But at the same time, they still try to give it that kind of connotation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then at the same time, polygamy wasn't really common among God's children.
I was gonna say it was common, but it wasn't among like, God's chosen people. It shouldn't have been a thing.
They didn't practice that.
But it was so rampant throughout the whole
Like the world. We could just say the world.
the
honestly.
world at that point. Like, yeah, it was throughout the world. So that's why it was nothing for Sarah to say take Hagar as your wife.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, bro, everyone else is doing it.
Yeah, that's a common thing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's a common thing. But at the end of the day, this wasn't a part of the plan of God's plan.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? But I don't think people would have been thinking that deeply. But at the end of the day, it's a newborn baby who was a part of God's plan. So he's gonna get the shine, and then we know that he's gonna get the inheritance, and then the lineage is going to run through him. You
Exactly.
understand? So he have the birthright
And the thing about it wasn't even saying that people shouldn't have been thinking about it that deeply, but Abraham should have been.
for sure.
Because God already said, bro, you're going to have a son with your wife. Like, cause I mean, when God first told him that, there was no Hagar in the picture. There was no Hagar in the picture. So who else are you going to have this son with?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what your God stands for because you've been following him your whole life. You already follow him out from your homeland. So no, Abraham should have been thinking about it that deeply. I don't want to really give him that blight per se.
Yeah, no, I talking about the other people who would celebrate the children probably wouldn't be thinking about it as deeply as that.
Yeah, the
You know what I'm
common
saying?
people.
Yeah.
They were just there celebrating.
If Abraham ain't thinking about it deeply by now, he failed the test too many times for me. You understand? That's supposed to be well on his mind, you know?
Exactly. So now we see early the next morning, everything's happened early the next morning. I feel like early the next morning, Abraham gets up, took some food and gave them some water.
But you know what it is? You know what it is, right? Your child get weaned, so you throw a feast for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And during the feast, you see in this corner, your second wife and your son kind of making fun, like having a mockery. Your other wife say, bro, these people gotta go. And then the very next day they out of here, bro. Like you wouldn't even get time for no closure, no.
I mean, and I like how you say that too, because here's the thing. When God gives you instruction, God calls you to act.
Yeah, for true.
God calls you to act. So we see how, even go back to last week's episode, we see how the angels told Lot, bro, we're going to destroy the city. And Lot was dilly-dallying.
Mm-hmm.
And the angels had to physically take him and go. Because like when God tell you to do something, God ain't saying,
do something eventually.
Like God calling like, no, go do this now.
Yeah.
Like when God told Abram to leave, Abram left immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why he say next morning, God
early in the
this.
morning.
Gotta go, bro. And we gonna see again soon when God tell him to do something. Early the next morning, he get up and need to go do it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he gave them some water and some food. And just like, yeah, but you sending your son goodbye. You can go on a final journey. We know we could see each other again. So long, farewell to you, my friend. Goodbye for now, but we ain't gonna meet again.
Boy, oh boy.
Ouch.
That's heavy. That's heavy. Luckily, God did promise him that he would still make a great nation out of Ishmael as well.
And that also shows like God's like
just holding
grace.
on. Yeah, exactly. That just shows how God holds on to his promises. You understand? Even though it's like sometimes we put God in a position where he have to deflect the plans.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? But at the end of the day, he still holds on to his promises.
Exactly.
I promise to make a great nation out of you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that means greatness is gonna come from your seed.
Mm-hmm.
If I tell you to have a seed with this person only, that's where that's where we're gonna get the most out of this plan.
Exactly.
You deflect from it, you have a seed with someone else. I ain't gonna diss the plan just because you do that. You understand? But you kind of You gotta put a little detour or a little roadblock or something in it. But at the end of the day, I still righteous enough to the point where I still gonna be able to do everything I say I was gonna do, regardless of the circumstance.
And in that detour, you cost yourself a lot of heartache and pain that you yourself will not even realize, but your children's children will see.
Mm-hmm.
So now we get to a little touchy story. We see Hagar and Ishmael was in the desert, wandering around. And then they run out of water.
Boy, in the desert.
Yeah, but that's rough.
What a place to run out of water, boy.
Hey, my goodness.
In the desert.
And then we see Hagar, knowing what is inevitable. She leave Ishmael in some bushes. And then she went to go watch him essentially die. For ways away. And she was just crying. I only can imagine what that must feel like.
Yeah, she say, right now, the dehydration is so severe that I know you're gonna die. But I just can't have you dying right here, bro. So I gotta put you somewhere in somewhere discreet. You know what I'm saying? For this to happen.
And God came down God heard the boy crying, and the angel of the God called to Hagar from heaven. He didn't really come down. What is the motto, Hagar? Don't be afraid. God has heard the boy crying as he lies there. Lift up your little boy and take him by the hand, and I will make unto him a great nation. And then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. So you think that well was always there? Right?
No, bro.
You think so, or you just think God hid it from her vision?
I don't think the well was there. Just think about it, bro. We in a desert, bro. You see what I'm saying? I feel like this is a miracle in itself, bro. We have a well of water in the middle of the desert.
I agree. I mean, I agree with you. Like, it's a miracle, right? But you know, like how people say when you're dehydrated, you start hallucinating, and then you see the oasis.
But my whole thing is,
I mean, because she put him under a bush, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, where does bush come from in the desert?
bro, it is vegetation.
Because trees take water, bro.
Bro, but how much water? They have cactus in the desert.
See, the Bible didn't say what type of plant it was, but it's providing some shade.
So I imagine this some type of a bush that requires very little water to survive, you know? And when it gets the water, it retains that water. You feel me?
Oh, it could have been pulling from this wet now.
My whole thing is, bro, when you're desperate, I feel like if she was desperate and that well was always there, she would have seen that well, bro. Trust me, she would have seen that well because she desperate. I know she hallucinating like, man, I wish I could just find some water. You know what I mean? Like when you're dead broke and you're walking like, mother, I wish I could just find $100 on the floor or something right now. Like that's all you're thinking. So I sure these type of thoughts probably run through her mind. You know what I'm saying? But what are the odds of a well being in the desert? You know?
Yeah, so I mean, God opened her eyes. She got some wells. She got some water to drink. And then God lifted up the boy and he grew up. And then we see the Bible says he became an archer. So he was good with a bow and an arrow. Yeah, Ishmael became an archer. But then we also see how this is the end of the Ishmael story arc right now, I feel like. But he also said like he was living in the desert of Paran. And his mother got him a wife from Egypt. So she went back to her hometown in Egypt, found Ishmael a wife. And granted, Egypt wasn't too far from where they was right now. So just, you know, Egypt was relatively close. So Ishmael, who was half Egyptian, half Hebrew, married an Egyptian.
Yeah, further the lineage.
And that starts the Ishmaelites.
Boy, oh boy.
Because we know Joseph was sold to the Ishmaelites.
Yes. And
they took him to Egypt.
Yep. You know,
that's all the dots connect after a while, bro.
But that's my beef with the Bible, bro. All of these people, all of these enemy camps were cousins, bro.
Oh yeah.
These guys were family. But they weren't cohesive. They weren't connected. But they was family, bro.
But God told them what's gonna happen.
Yes.
But because these brothers gonna have animosity between each other.
But I just wish it was a way where when he gets out to the Ishmaelites, he'd be like, bro, you know who my grandfather is, bro? Wait, let me see.
It would have been Isaac.
Who my great grandfather is?
Say Abraham.
Abraham, bro.
Exactly.
That's your people great-grandfather.
And they would say, bro, he had many sons.
Yeah. Like, so what are they supposed to care about every son he had?
Exactly. Bro, they might have even been salty or like, yeah. And guess what? We the Ishmaelites. Nobody did the Ishmael.
Banish
Sent
us.
him away.
So now you gotta go away. And I feel like that's what it is, bro. I feel like that's what it is.
But because think about it though, like in my human mind, and Ishmael is human too, so I can't talk from my end. Can just feel like, bro, like your daddy sent you away because of another son, bro.
And if you watch all the cartoons and comic books that we see now, boy.
Oh boy.
Think about and see, all right. You can get me started, bro. All of these stories where we be seeing on Netflix and stuff like that with these superheroes, bro. A lot of the times, bro, the evil villain is be the person half brother, bro.
Half brother, saw some type of family member.
Yeah, some type of family member who didn't have the luxuries that you had. You understand? So now they very salty and have a lot of animosity towards you. And this type of animosity build a hatred and they just want to destroy you. And like nothing you can do to satisfy their anger, bro. You could pay them, you could surrender to them. No, but they want to see you suffer because they have to suffer.
Exactly.
And that's my beef with a lot of stories today, because a lot of people try to discredit the Bible or the Bible boring, blah, 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 blah. But guess what? All of these stories which you be watching and you just so love on TV, they inspired by the Bible, but they get...
I even want to say something else at that point too. It's not even just the TV shows and stuff, bro. Like, bro, all these success books and stuff. I used to read a bunch of them too. But bro, we start looking at some of these promises and stuff these success books be talking about. All of them stuff in the Bible. Every last one. Think and Grow Rich, Magic of Thinking Big, Power Positive Thinking, bro. All these stuff in the Bible.
All these promises, all these gems, you can find right in the Bible.
But you can think about it. In all reality, God is the creator of everything good.
For sure.
So if you're trying to bring good in your life, where's it really going to come from? Like the basic principles of it.
If it is good, it's coming from God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now we know Satan is used some type of, well, he have his false goods that he's trying to present in people's eyes, but like everything truly good comes from God. So he's the creator of it. So like all these principles, all these good storylines, they all coming from the heavenly creator.
For sure. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so now we have a situation where it's a classic comic book scenario where we talking about Joseph right now, like we way down the line, but that's what was gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Little spoiler alert.
Whenever we get to Joseph, a lot of story to go before Joseph, boy.
Telling you.
All right, so now in chapter 22 is another little commercial break. The Treaty of Beersheba, as my Bible call it. So we see Abimelech and his commander again come with some forces. Said to Abraham, God is with you in everything you do. Now swear to me before God that you will not deal falsely with me or my children or my descendants. Show to me and the country where you are living as an alien the same kindness we have shown to you. So essentially, Abimelech saying, bro, you here as a foreigner. God has give you everything you want. I trying to be in your good graces because you start off with me a little rocky.
And I don't want that smoke no more.
Exactly. So now he's saying, bro, promise to me. We essentially boys.
Yeah, I want to hear you say it. I want to hear you say that we is boys, bro.
Exactly. I
don't want to leave this up to chance. I need to know where we stand.
Exactly. So now you see that Abram said, yep, we good. I swear it. So I'm like, cool now. Then Abram started complaining to him about how some people sees a well. Some server of Abimelech was like, bro, I don't know about this. I just heard about this today. That's why I like the Bible, bro. Like, hey, but these real people, bro. Like, people say, bro, what you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? A well? That's what a well? I don't know about this. So now we see Abraham bring him some sheep and some cattle, and the two men made a treaty. And then he set out some 7 lambs. What's your Bible say? Verse 28.
Oh, 28. And Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves.
What's a ewe lamb?
Yeah, E-W-E.
Yeah,
I saw that?
I saw it in my Bible too, and I was like,
yeah, like
maybe it's a different translation.
Yeah, let me see if it translates another way. And a bit while you look that up, verse 29, and Abimelech said unto Abraham,
female.
But
they could have said female.
They could have said that, I ain't gonna lie. See, but I just take that as saying, see, your translation run out because that's supposed to be like a more modern thing. But then guess what? We might just be ignorant to that fact. That might be a term used very well.
In the farming community,
like,
people are going to be looking at us and be, y'all don't know what a Yule is, right? Sorry, guys.
Big smart guys.
Yeah.
Supposed to know, supposed to be studying the Bible. You don't know what an Elam is. Hey, are we probably pronouncing it wrong still?
They can read it.
For sure.
They can find it.
Yeah, for Genesis 21 verse 28.
Like I say, I encourage everyone to do your own research.
Yeah, for sure. Don't rely on us.
Iron is sharpening iron. You can come refute what we saying.
Right.
So yeah, so now they made a treaty. Abram dug a well, and they called it Beersheba. And it just, Beersheba can mean the well of seven, or the well of the oath.
I want to know what happened. I want to know what Abimelech do, but the well was violently taken away though. That's what I want to know. They never even get to the bottom of that.
Abram just dig a new well.
Yeah.
Abram just dig a new well. He said, bro, they take that well. They can take it. I can just take a new one. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
He said, I don't even want to deal with this.
I want that well. We can do a better well anyway.
And so now we get to Genesis 22.
The final exam for Abraham.
Oh,
Boy,
a big test. Big test. Just like the bonus question on your exam.
Boy.
It's like when you're taking that exam and the professor say, okay, if you could answer the question in the box, it's like plus 50 points or something.
Right.
So
Because you know you at risk of failing otherwise still.
Yeah, boy. So sometimes, boy, I remember some exams, I say, boy, let me see if I can just figure out this question in the box one time. Let me just say it myself sometimes. Right. I need all the time I could do to focus on this one question.
Right.
Then I can come back and hit the multiple choice in the beginning and whatever in the middle. Hopefully this question I do enough work on the box section. We can make up for this.
Yeah. That's funny, bro.
All right. So now we see, and the Bible just says some time elapsed, but in other readings, so like now is like a couple years. Well, but we see God said to Abram, Abram said, here I am, Lord. God said, take your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love, and go to the region of Moriah and sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on the mountains that I will tell you about.
But you see how specific God get, bro? Take your son.
No
right?
slapping up.
You
ain't say Ishmael.
Right, thy only son.
You ain't say Ishmael.
Hey.
You ain't say Ishmael. God saying, bro, let me tell you something, bro. Without any hesitation, I am letting you know exactly what I'm talking about. Bro, because about God called him by name.
Mm-hmm.
Just in case you had any discrepancies who I'm talking about, take your son, your only son, Isaac.
Mm-hmm. Who you love.
For sure. Who you love. I am going to acknowledge everything you could possibly say to me right ahead
now.
of town.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to just get it all out.
Mm-hmm. Right now.
And you can sacrifice him.
Whoa.
Think about what Abraham must have felt.
Think about the gravity of that, bro.
Your only son.
Okay, Earl.
Like the promised son.
Okay, Earl.
The promised son. Who God said, you will be a great nation.
Bro, you wait 99 years, 100 years for the day that you get this son.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Up until you was like 85, bro. You didn't even know you was having children, bro. Even though God told you that you was going to bear a son, that was funny to you. You know what I mean? Because you was so old. And even before then, you knew your wife was barren, so that means y'all would have had to try. You know what I'm saying? Y'all would at least have to try of kid. Mm-hmm. And you was even complaining, who all my stuff can go to?
Eliezer.
You see what I'm saying? They can go to Eliezer. So now, bro, God blessed you with a son. The son of promise. Mm-hmm. So now this is very valuable to you. This is something that you didn't have for the majority of your life, and now you have it, bro. And now God is basically saying, bro, I want you to sacrifice that thing to me. Sacrifice meaning he will not be here anymore. It ain't like when Hannah dedicated her son Samuel unto God.
To God.
And he was a priest. But you could still see him. No.
Yeah, still visit him.
I want you to kill him, bro. Straight up. Kill him for me. Burnt offering, bro. I want you to burn your son, dog. Think about that. I want you to burn your son, bro.
I want you to kill him. Kill him and burn him up as a sacrifice to me. And what I want people to understand too, It's just the gravity of this situation too. Even more so because human sacrifices were a thing that all the other lands were doing around them in the land of Canaan. Like this was a pagan tradition and a part of the pagan religion. So now you see all of this happening around you, but you know God doesn't call you to do that.
No, he don't condone that. And then at the same time, you are now a Hebrew and you are set apart from the rest of the world. And you are known for being a peculiar people already.
Different. Yeah.
Exactly.
You done circumcise everybody. Everybody that know what's going on.
Right. You talk to this invisible God, to those people.
Exactly.
Whom does miraculous works.
And everybody knows that.
And everybody know that, but ain't no idols around to represent him. So you are this is an interesting guy. He's not like anybody else. His people aren't like anybody else.
Man, and even think about it even more, like, so now you're the patriarch. Everybody in your camp look up to you. Everybody, because you're essentially the king of a little village right now. Like we see the other kings call him a prince of the land. Like other kings respect you. Your own followers respect you. You have many servants. You have many maids. You have many sheep. You have many cattle. People look up to you. You've been saying for years, God is good. God's promised me the son. So now you turn around. Like I'm just thinking about it. Like now you try to say, oh yeah, God told me to sacrifice my son now, and they're like, what? Think about it. Think about if Abraham had told anyone else most like that. God told you to sacrifice your son. What?
Bro.
This whole God you talk about this whole time, how is he different now than all these other gods? Because I could go down the street to Philistia and they sacrificing people. And they living kind of lavish over there. Like, oh, why can't I go back over there?
Bro, the mom was already 100, bro. Anybody who he tell that to, they would be rightful in assuming that he is suffering from dementia, bro. The man is going senile.
Yeah.
They would be justified to me by thinking that, because this sounds just absurd. But then imagine how you would look, bro. See, and that's why this is the ultimate test of faith for Abraham, bro. This is the ultimate one, bro. Nothing else he done.
Exactly. Like
can hold a candle to this.
This guy now he got his name, the father of faith, bro.
Bro.
Father of the faithful. I mean, because, bro, like how you say you're 100? I won't even paint like even slightly more accurate picture. From what I was reading, Abraham was around 120 when this happened.
Yeah, I was talking about he was 100 when he got the son.
Bing.
Yeah.
So now, but it's not. The reason why I even bring that up is think about it now. You already see this boy grow up.
Yeah, that's a man.
You see him grow up. You already see him starting to come into a man of his own. He's starting to have his own dreams, his own aspirations, know what he want to do with his life. You know what I'm saying? You know he's gonna be the promised child. It ain't like he 5.
Right.
Because if you know at that point now he's like 20. So he 5, bro. He like just a little kid.
This completely left field.
So now
now.
you already kind of love, bro. Like this he at the point where he's starting to become like almost like your best friend kind of now. He almost at this stage where you still guide him in his choices and stuff, but you know he like you ain't guiding him as a little boy no more. He thinking for himself, he doing for himself now. You just saying, oh yeah, you know, you counseling him as he go along, but you're starting to form this other like a deeper level of friendship now. But now, God, you tell me that I have to let go of all of this.
Wait, imagine how that would look if once you follow these plans, bro, you gotta walk around without a son, bro. Imagine what everyone thinking now, bro.
Bing.
Imagine how that make you look, bro, and you kill him too. You a murderer to people, bro.
He was a second king.
Exactly. So this was a heavy request God was putting on Abraham's shoulder. Imagine what Sarah think, bro. Would have thought. Let me ask you this, bro. If God had asked Sarah to do this.
It wasn't happening. It wasn't happening.
I highly doubt this was happening, bro.
But the woman laughed.
For sure.
She ain't laughed, but she laughed.
She might have laughed again.
She'd be like, ah.
There's gotta be a joke.
I tell y'all, Isaac can make me laugh again. Kill Isaac.
That's gotta be a joke.
And it's even a deeper level for Sarah because she was barren for however much years she was. You know what I'm saying? She was barren for this amount of time.
And then she was ridiculed because of it too.
Bing. So now it was just like almost Samuel's mummy was, even though Samuel's mum was a little bit more extreme, but she was crying in the temple for a child. Because she couldn't have children. She was crying for the Lord to give her a child. But Sarah knew she was barren from time. She wasn't really crying out, but she was like, bro, I ain't having no children.
That's a tough pill to swallow too.
You know what I'm saying?
You want to have children.
And then hearing her husband coming with this promise that he's gonna be the father of many nations. Because we see how Sarah was the one, Sarai at the time was the one who came up with the plan. So like, go marry Hagar. God said he can give you the son. Go marry Hagar. You can have a son through Hagar. Like she accepted that pill to swallow. Like I imagine it was a hard pill thing for her to suggest, but you can see she probably suggested out of some type of guilt, even though it still backfired on her twice. But yeah, man, like bro, like this her son. You know what I'm saying? Like this her son, like bro, if there was a book about just Sarah's life, this would be a crowning achievement.
For sure. Because it was Abraham's crowning achievement.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So this was a big move, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Just having this son, it's like you make it to the championship and you win, bro. You understand? And it ain't no more championships. It's like the last championship that you ever in your last season, you make it to the championship and you win. Yeah. So you just leave it all on the line.
Like for a reference for people who watch football, like Peyton Manning win a Super Bowl and like, yep, going out on top. That's me.
Deuces.
That's me. I'm going out on top. I ain't trying to be like Michael and coming back to have like some seasons and a different people. Nope. Out on top.
Yeah.
So now we see Abraham got up and saddled his donkey. He took with him 2 servants and his son Isaac. And he cut wood for the burnt offering and he set out to the place God would show him. See, the Bible didn't even say he ain't tell Sarah.
Mm-hmm. It ain't saying that. And first of all, he get up early in the morning still.
Before she wake up. Think about it, bro. Like I don't think he had the heart to tell Sarah.
He couldn't have.
How you gonna tell your wife? Even though you know it's coming from God, how you gonna tell your wife? The son you love, I wouldn't say more than me, but just as much as me, or you love deeply, because a mother's child with their children is like, it's unbreakable bond.
That's the thing, the maternal instinct. You understand?
You gonna tell her? I have to sacrifice him.
Bro, I am of the belief, bro, that some things you just can't share with everyone, even your spouse, bro. Some things you just can't, bro. Just because of the complications that will result because of it.
Yeah. He used to get up early next morning and say, okay, Isaac, let's go. He didn't even tell Isaac.
He didn't even tell Isaac?
He didn't even tell Isaac. He didn't even tell Isaac what was going on. But Isaac was used to going to sacrifices with his daddy. So he was like,
that's a normal thing.
It's a normal thing. Okay, daddy, wake me up a little early. I went, okay, cool, let's go.
Yeah.
You see, it take them about 3 days to get where God has showed them.
Isaac was a good sport, bro.
Mm-hmm.
3 days go by before he get inquisitive.
Yeah. And Abraham say, okay, hey, y'all stay here. Me and him could go up. One of them servants feel. That's when you know your place.
Yeah.
You can't run on too long. Abraham say, y'all stay here. Me and Isaac could go up. Now we see Isaac start having a little question. So, okay, daddy. So I see the wood and the ropes and everything else. But where the sacrifice? Where the sacrifice?
And then Abraham hit him with a big line, bro.
I'm gonna let you say it.
Abraham said to his son, "The Lord will provide a lamb."
Mercy.
And let me tell you why that's a big line, bro. Because I work in a corporate setting, bro. And it's times where my bandwidth or like just the amount of time I have in a day isn't enough for me to do everything that I need to do. So I might be in a place where I'm working on this assignment, but now I have a project or a presentation to speak to tomorrow or in an hour or something like that. And I might sometimes I pray to God and I say, God, honestly, I am very frustrated that this amount of work is being put on me that I can't bear. And I just pray that you may intervene while I present. It's times when I go into a meeting unprepared, and I know that I am supposed to be the expert on this subject, so I can't even rely on anybody else to help me. And you know what? The Lord provides a lamb for me. You understand? And these are things that comfort me in situations like that. When I know that I've done everything that I was supposed to do, but it still isn't enough, I know that the Lord will intervene and the Lord will provide a lamb. So sometimes I wake up in the morning and I know I have this big presentation or this big meeting today, and it stressed me out a little bit. And I just whisper to myself, the Lord will provide a lamb, because it's true. You understand? But the reason why I like it, I just love this so much in context, because I am realizing that Abraham is a man who can tell the truth without revealing the full extent of things. You understand? It's similar to what we're seeing with Abimelech and with Pharaoh, where Abraham said, this is my sister. You understand? It pacifies the situation, but it doesn't tell you the severity or the magnitude of the situation. And right now, that's exactly what he did. The Lord will provide a lamb. He did not lie. The Lord provided Isaac.
Yep.
You understand? And so when we get to the top, you are the sacrifice and the Lord has provided you. I didn't do this. You know what I'm saying? And then at the same time, Abraham trusted that whatever happens at the top of this mountain, to God be the glory at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. And then like we kind of see some of the rationalization that Abraham was going through when Paul was talking in what is it? Hebrews? Paul or Peter? I don't forget it right. It's one of the P's who write Hebrews.
I want to say Paul, but I don't know.
It's one of the P's who write Hebrews. But Hebrews 11:19, it shows that I'm gonna just read it. By faith, Abraham, I'm gonna read from verse 17. By faith, Abraham, when God tested him, offered Isaac as a sacrifice. He who had received promises was about to sacrifice his one and only son. Even though God had said to him, it is through Isaac, your offspring will be reckoned. Abraham reasoned that God could raise the dead, and figuratively speaking, he did receive Isaac back from death. And the reason why that's so powerful and shows that, because, I'm going to just set the scene. In Abraham's time, Lazarus didn't get raised from the dead yet.
Nope.
Jesus didn't get raised from the dead yet. So we had no instances of anyone being raised from the dead. The only instance we have of anyone even making it to heaven was what we referenced earlier, Enoch just walked with God and walked with no more.
And it's funny because that's pre-flood. So this is a completely different time.
Exactly. And so now we see Abraham knew that God promised him he's going to be a father of many nations through Isaac. And he also knew though that God said Isaac needs to be sacrificed. So Paul was essentially going to say Paul. I could be wrong. But
I looked it up and they said it's believed that it's Paul.
Paul.
Yeah.
All right. So Paul was saying that Abraham was essentially trying to say, guess what? I believe in God's promises. So even if God tell me to sacrifice my son, I still believe that God can still bring him back from death.
Now that's wild faith, bro. Because where you get that from, you make that up. You
Exactly.
See what I'm saying?
But like at the same time, you're still trying to rationalize two things that God say. Because God said this and God said this, but all two of these can't simultaneously exist in the same realm.
God asks you for a crazy sacrifice, and it'll be a crazy blessing as a result of this crazy sacrifice.
So this man had to build a bridge. He said the only way for me sacrificing Isaac to make sense, and for me to still have to be a father of many nations through Isaac to make sense, is that when I sacrifice him, God has to bring him back. It's not even sure that Abraham was fully prepared to sacrifice Isaac, as we were going to see.
For sure.
He was fully prepared to do it.
For sure.
But now it still shows the rationalization, because now it was hard for Abraham to do this. Like let's just acknowledge that fact. It wasn't like easy for him to do. But he still didn't question God in this one instance. He got up early the next morning, and even though it hurt him, he still said, "This is what God told me to do." And this is one thing I want people to know too. Like when God calls you to do something, like faith without works is dead. Like you're gonna have to show your faith. Like when Guy said before, faith not tested is faith that can't be trusted. Because you could say you love God, you could say you love your loved one, but it's gonna come a point where you're gonna be tested in that, and will you fold?
And then watch it. If you fold, right, you can't make the argument that you ever really believed this or you ever had this faith. Because once it was tested, you failed, and that proved that you didn't even have the faith. So a lot of times we can believe that we have this type of faith, right? But when we get tested, bro, if we do not fast, if we do not pass, how can we prove that we ever had this faith? It's just what we believe.
Man, just like how someone said, like you can't be courageous until you're scared.
Exactly. I heard that on a very popular TV show. Because on the TV show, the guy was saying, hey, Dad, how are we courageous when we're afraid? And the dad said that's the only time you could be courageous.
Exactly.
When you're afraid. And that resonated with me a lot, because it's like the biggest test of a man is who he is in the face of adversity. I paraphrasing something what Martin Luther King said. You understand? So it's like, and it's kind of like what the devil was saying to God in reference to Job. He was saying, bro, you can't say this guy really serve you, because he living on easy street. You give him every single thing he asks for. Who wouldn't serve you? Now, I bet if you take everything away, he'd curse you. You understand? And it's kind of like what we saw with Adam and Eve, where If the tree of knowledge of good and evil was not in the garden, we would have no evidence to support that they were actually even serving God. Because
Exactly.
they didn't have an option to not serve God.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? So now in this situation, if he had asked God, if God had asked Abraham straight up, who you love more, me or Isaac? He would have said, I love you more, God. Right? But we can't really take your word for it. Could you prove that?
Man, this remind me of what Elijah said last week. You shouldn't have to cheat on God to be in your relationship. Like, just like how you asked, like if God asks, who would you love, Isaac? Who would you love more, Isaac, the son I gave you, or me? You'd have said, you, God. God's like, okay. Now, if this is really true, sacrifice him to me.
For sure. So now, instead of God even putting you in this situation where he asking, he just making you prove it one time. Because he already know what you can say. And a lot of people would say that. But what they do, would they be willing to prove that?
Exactly.
You understand?
Exactly. And now we see that, yeah. One more thing I wanted to say too is that a lot of people might say it's unfair for God to do this. But at the same time, God doesn't ask us to do anything, one, that we can't do, and anything that he isn't prepared to do himself. Because this is a foreshadowing, a big foreshadowing of what's to come in the future. Well, what came in the future to this story. Like, we knew God sacrificed his only begotten son. And the difference was here is that Isaac didn't know what was coming.
Right. So it's less suffering there.
It's less suffering. Jesus knew he was coming to be sacrificed from the minute Eve ate the fruit. Waited a couple thousand years, came down to earth. As he was growing up, he knew I would have to die. Even close to death, he was like, Lord, if there's any way this suffering could be taken away from me. But even though, let your will be done.
Right. And see, it's important that we take note on these specific instances, because it's easy to think that Jesus was just God and he didn't experience pain. He didn't experience weakness or any of these things that humans experience, but that's not the truth. Jesus bled. Jesus suffered. Jesus was fast and he was very weak. The devil tempted him, but he was still strong. Yep. You understand? So, and even when you think about him on the cross, when he was about to die, he was screaming, Father, why hast thou forsaken me? The pain was so unbearable. He asked God, why you do this to me? Like, why you forsaking me, bro? Because that's just how it felt. And what I was saying off mic, bro, at the end of the day, you could know everything you need to do. You could know how you should react to a situation, but it don't change how you feel, bro. At the end of the day, it don't change how you feel. You can make these scenarios in your mind. If this happened, then I should be cool, blah 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 blah. But until it happened, bro, you ain't gonna know how it's going to make you feel. You in charge of how you react 100%, but you can't control how you feel.
You can't control your feelings. Make us like, yeah, you said it perfectly. I don't even want to echo that, but you said it perfectly.
Straight up. So now watch this, right? If we don't have the story of Abraham and this test of faith with Isaac, could we ever understand what God personally had to go through while sending Jesus to die? John 3:16, that's probably the most known text in the world. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, right? So basically it's saying God loved us so much that he was willing to sacrifice his son, right? But I would say, bro, how big of a sacrifice this really is if this person could die and he can come right back to life. But that's what I'm trying to tell you. You know what's going to happen, but it don't change how it make you feel. At the end of the day, you still have to witness your son getting whipped, your son getting ridiculed, getting lied on, spit on. You have to witness him dying. You have to watch him in pain. You understand? Now, if that ain't love, then I don't, but like, to me, that's the deepest form of love.
And even why it's even deeper, God saved Isaac.
Right.
God save Isaac. God say, I ain't even gonna let you go through it, but thanks. But like God say, you know what? I know you passed the test. Paraphrase, you passed the test. Like, I know we gonna get into that too, but God still save Isaac. God let Abraham go through the emotional buildup of about to do it, but God still save Isaac because Isaac did not die.
Exactly.
Jesus wasn't no saving.
No, Jesus went through the whole thing.
Jesus died.
Experienced the whole thing.
Jesus
So now watch this.
Died.
So
Yep.
now Abraham, who is the patriarch, he is reminiscent of God the Father, right? Because up until then, we had a lot of people who served the Most High God. But when we were introduced to Abram, God was saying, you are the person who I'm going to form my heritage through. These God's people. My people are going to come through your lineage. So this is like kind of because that's why they say he's the father of many nations. This is where it starts. He's the patriarch, right? So this is the father of these nations having to sacrifice his son. It's symbolic. You understand? And this is used to be a blessing to many other people throughout history, so you could understand what God is about to go through. My guy, when me and Jesus was rolling, we was in heaven, everything was good. We was in a perfect harmony. We working. And Jesus didn't do nothing to deserve this.
Nothing.
But at the end of the day, because I love y'all a lot, Jesus gotta suffer for what y'all do. You understand?
Willingly.
Right. And I love Jesus so much that I wouldn't just do that I wouldn't just do that for no reason, bro. It gotta show. This goes to show you how much I love y'all, and this was a symbol to show God how much Abraham loved him. This your world, bro. This your everything, and you gotta sacrifice it to prove your love to me. And Abraham passed the test. So, in the terms of the point system where we was giving out,
He get plus 50.
no, I given him 100. I given him 100, bro. He passed the test with flying colors. Nothing else even mattered right there, bro.
And just to like read the Bible now, just to show how serious Abraham was. Abraham tied up Isaac to the altar. He raised the knife in the air and was about to come down and kill him. I don't even know what else to say. He was about to come down and kill him.
The angel was like, whoa, hold on,
everybody.
Whoa, hold on, buckaroo. What you doing? They started, Genesis 22 verse 11, but the angel of the Lord called to him from heaven and said, Abraham. And he's like, here I am. And he said, do not lay your hand on the lad or do anything to him. For now I know that you fear God, since you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me. From me. And that's beautiful, bro. That's beautiful.
And so at that moment, he looked up and he saw a ram. And I know his heart was so warm.
Bro?
His heart had to be so warm.
Bro,
Because first of all, wait, you think this lamb was there before?
I don't think that lamb was there before.
Because I'm like, bro, you didn't realize this lamb was here the whole time.
Because it was stuck. It was stuck in the bushel.
Like this one random ram just there, and you know, but he making noise because imagine he's stuck. So now he's trying to
trying to get out,
pull his head out. Like,
how you ain't noticed that the whole time? And how you ain't? It's only you and Isaac up here, bro. How you ain't noticed this other moving thing?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
But now to bring it back serious again, we see how like Abraham, like, I don't have to do this. Like, thank you, Lord. I don't have to sacrifice my son. Like, and a lamb is here. You didn't make me a liar, Lord. You provided a lamb.
Right.
In the form of a ram. But you provided a sheep.
Exactly. And it just go to show how faithful God is at the end of the day. And how much faith Abraham had in God, bro, at the end of the day. He know God was going to make something shake, bro.
Exactly.
Bro, he know no matter what, I do what I have to do, and the Lord will do the rest. And that's basically the point that I was making earlier with my job, bro. I do everything I was supposed to do, bro. And even though it's still not enough, I know the Lord will intervene, bro. That's just the long and short of it, bro. That's just the fact.
The God rewards his faithful. That's why you see so many instances in the Bible. It talks about having faith. Having faith. The faith the size of a mustard seed would move mountains. The faith the size of a mustard seed, bro, would move mountains. That's why faith is such an important key. Like, just like we go back to John 3:16. Like, he's like God so loved the world, he sent his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him, whoever have faith that he died, shall have life and not perish. You gotta have that faith at the end of the day. Like, that faith is what is important. And simultaneously, the action of that faith. Because like we see back in James, it says faith without works is dead.
For sure.
So now, like we're talking about, you could say you could talk the talk. Talking the talk is good, but now are you walking the walk? Because that's what's really important. People say, I see better than I hear. So now, granted, like with faith is all about the unseen. But now I'm like, if you believe in God, are you acting like God? As we talked about last week, do you have the character of God? Are you actually being a Christian? So that's where it gets so important, the faith. And are you exercising your faith? Because we have to. I mean, that's what it really boils down to. You have to exercise your faith.
See, and at the end of the day, one fundamental truth that we've been realizing with every person so far, bro, that is a test. Everybody that we cover and that we follow, there is a test. It's a test of faith. You understand?
Sometimes you have multiple tests.
Like our guy, to whom much is given, much is required.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So this guy had multiple tests, and let me open up my phone back because the angel ended up saying something pretty interesting to me, and he was saying that I will bless you and multiply. I will bless you and multiply, and multiplying I will multiply your descendants as the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is in the seashore, and your descendants shall possess the gate of their enemies. In your seed, all the nations of the earth shall be blessed because you have obeyed my voice. So basically, Abraham was already promised all of these things, but he still had to do his part. At the end of the day,
promise. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it ain't no one side thing. Like, God ain't like just your genie, just could do everything at your command and for free. No, you have to be obedient to God, and you have to be willing to serve God and be willing to pass the test that God put in front of you.
And that comes back, that reminds me of, well, foreshadowing again, but that reminds me of Moses. Because we know Moses endured 80 years with the children of Israel in the desert, being faithful to God. They already made it back to Canaan, bro. They made it right outside Canaan. Children of Israel getting restless again. God, they all want water. And Moses say, you know what? God say, talk to the rock, and bring forth water. Moses, in a fit of anger, strike the rock. Still brought forth water. But God said, guess what, bro? You've been faithful for me all these years, but you just failed this test. And this was an important test that you failed too. So guess what? Now you ain't coming in. You can't make it into the land of Canaan no more. In the promised land. You toiled all these years. What? You just forfeited all your promises.
Right? Because at the end of the day, bro, God can do his part, and you got to do your part.
And you got to constantly keep doing your part too. It ain't just your good deeds from the past ain't gonna cover you. Because remember, like, our righteousness. Think about this, man. Like Paul said this too. Our righteousness are but filthy rags to God. That's all our goodness. That's all our goodness. Still, but filthy rags to God. So it just shows like what the stuff we doing can't own up. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't bring our works to God. And that's why the faith's so important, because everything we do, all our righteousness, bro, God's like, what is this? What is this? This ain't nothing.
Right. And there's something that I've been having conversation with my friends with. Our righteousness is but filthy rags. We can't bring our works to God, right? But at the same time, faith without works is dead. It's a dynamic duo.
It's a dynamic duo, but here's the thing. It isn't, is what people try to do is people try to substitute the works for the faith. But no, the faith comes first.
Right. But then faith without works is dead.
Yeah, but the faith comes first. You still have to do it, but it's all about your motivation behind it.
Yeah.
It's like, I can give you $5 because I really like you or something like that. But at the same time, I could have $5 you really need, and I'll be like, man, I ain't really doing it. But someone forced me to give you $5. So now, net results, you're still getting $5. But where my heart is in all this thing? So now we have a lot of different religions out there who are so works based.
Yeah, they very methodical.
So devout in what they do. They have to do this. 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 They have to face this direction. That kind of stuff. That's a lot of works. But nothing we can do can get us into heaven. That's what people got to realize. Nothing we can do can get us into heaven. That's how come you can't outwork me to get to heaven.
Bro, my first sermon I hear at Oakwood University was this guy. He's a theology major. I don't even know who he is, bro. This guy was saying, bro, his whole time at Oakwood, God was just breaking him down into like clay, bro, just to be molded. Because he came to Oakwood already something, but God had to remold him. And God had to basically tell him, bro, ain't no one in this earth who could sing good enough for me to say, oh, I got to bring you to heaven. You got to join the heavenly mass choir.
Exactly.
Ain't no theologian on earth could break down the text good enough for God to be like, oh, I didn't even see it like that. You see what I'm saying? Bro, ain't nothing you could do to impress God, bro. At the end of the day. You understand? So that's where the faith come in, bro. That's where you need that connection with God.
That's where you need that connection. And I go back to my examples. Well, the whole point we were trying to make, saying like nothing you can do can get into heaven, but God still calls us to action.
Mm-hmm.
But this action, we're doing this action because we believe in Him. It's like you could do good for your girlfriend or your wife because you love her. So these good deeds coming from your love, are not just doing a good deed just for no reason. So now it's like because I love you, I'm doing this for you. And that's like, so like the faith comes first. Because I love the Lord, I am going to go out and prophesy about Him. I'm just not prophesying about Him because I don't love Him. So now I have the faith, I have a different connection with Him. So now in this, I'm doing this because of this.
Yeah, see, right. And I agree. The faith comes first, but at the end of the day, the two go hand in hand.
Yeah.
You understand? Like, it's an inseparable combo. And it makes sense, bro. If you have the faith, then you will move like this.
Exactly.
Like the girlfriend analogy, bro, it's like saying, bro, like if somebody try to ask you to cheat and you say, no, I'm not cheating. That person who try to ask you to cheat, they could always say, oh, your girlfriend have so much rules in your relationship. Why she don't let you cheat? Aren't you not your own person? But you could turn around and say, bro, because I love my girlfriend, I will not cheat. Mm-hmm. This isn't even a rule. Mm-hmm. This is just something that I'm not willing to do because I'm not going to hurt the person I love.
Exactly.
So because Jesus say, if you love me, keep my commandments. Mm-hmm. You understand? So because you love me, these are the things you do.
Bing.
You understand?
Bing.
And so because you have faith, you are going to work. Mm-hmm. You understand? So if you have faith and you don't work, that faith is dead. That faith ain't real. You understand? It's dead, bro.
Because your faith will cause you to do stuff.
Exactly.
It will cause you action. Just like how when you are convicted to do something, you're gonna move. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, bro, our boy Abraham, bro. Powerful man of faith. Powerful man of faith. And just thinking about me as a man, bro, when it's time for me to have a family, bro, and just to be the father of my household and just the patriarch, bro, this is one of the people who I look up to and I admire and I aspire to pass the test when it comes to me, the same way Abraham passed the test when it comes to him. So this whole time, while we were reflecting on Abraham and just these various people, I often think about the various tests in my life. And you know when it's a test because it's so conflicting to you. It's so conflicting and it usually comes with a lot of doubt. Abraham could have argued, Lord, thou shalt not kill. Abraham could have argued that. Abraham could have said, Lord, you come to me in a dream. You used to come, sometimes you come to me in person and tell me these things. You come to me in a dream, I could be hallucinating. Abraham could have argued, I'm an old man. Abraham could have argued, this the son you promised to have a lot of, to form my legacy through. So there's no way I should kill him. But he didn't do that because he heeded the voice of God and he had faith that whatever the outcome is, God will still be glorified at the end of the day. No matter what God is asking me to do, his promise will be revealed and it will be made plain no matter what. So when I think about this story, bro, I often reflect on myself and I really appreciate the podcast because I'm a young adult and I'm a Christian at the same time. You know, I want to be used as an instrument and I see how nobody that we've read in the Bible so far went to school for none of this. Everybody was trying to learn it as they go. Ain't nobody had the Bible like how we have the Bible and all of these resources to pull from. And so faith was a very important factor. And that's something that I try to meditate on and just hold firm on so that I could pass the test when God gives me these tests. We all have to make sacrifices. But what happens when you're called to sacrifice the thing that you love the most? This was the reality for Abraham as he was tested to sacrifice his son. But luckily, Abraham passed the test. And then they found a ram for the sacrifice. But there was still one more thing that Abraham wanted to find. A wife for Isaac. And we'll talk about that on the next episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Tonight's episode included voice acting by your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz. Remember to go ahead and research on your own in order to get a more firm understanding of tonight's episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on social media at A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on Instagram and BOFAPOD on Twitter. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next week.